to get started on this daily collective read right about now. Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. I'm the Gray Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for Tuesday, August 22nd, 2023. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? Can I please have the first 5 cards in our 5-card spread? First card that we are starting our day off with today is the 3 of Cups in its reversal. So this could be feeling like a moment right now that you are moving into some level or degree of seriousness, putting your concentration on what you are trying to accomplish today. And this could be also speaking right now of moving out of any kind of feelings of celebratoriness. This could be also feeling a lot of energy today. It's interesting, someone actually mentioned hermit mode in the comments, because this could also be indicative of some feelings of going into some hermit energy, not necessarily looking for the crowds today, wanting to have a little bit more of that isolation coming through today, but let's continue to get some of that clarity on the cards for today. Second card coming through in our 5-card spread for today is Chariot in its reversal. So one of the things that needs to be paid attention to today is making sure that there is a path forward around circumstances or situations. This could be a lot of attention being paid right now in terms of the path that you're moving on thus far. Really trying to recognize and orient to make sure that those energies that you are working with in collaboration right now feel like you are all aligned in terms of the long-term plans, the long-term path moving forward. A lot of concentration could be spent today on navigating and negotiating through some of these plans and challenges. This could even be speaking a lot to having to address some problems as it relates to schedules, as it relates to coordination today. This is giving me a lot of this pre-retrograde energy because we are about to go into a Mercury retrograde. So doing some of this work to kind of align or make sure that that path ahead is clear, or as clear as possible during the retrograde period right now, is probably going to be top of mind. Center card for our spread for today is, we have coming through right now, the 7 of Pentacles in its reversal. One of the things that must be paid attention to right now could be a feeling of frustration around the time that is needed right now for what you are trying to create or build for yourself to grow. This could be a level or degree of impatience that you're currently experiencing as well. This is about overcoming hurdles and obstacles right now, and a point of orientation in terms of making sure that those energies that you are working with at this time feel like they are aligned to a mutual path, a mutual goal forward. If you are in partnership at this moment, this could be a lot of care and concentration that you are paying on navigating some of these challenges and navigating some of these setbacks, but all for the greater ideal of having that point of clearance to allow for a bit of expediency in terms of manifesting what you're trying to manifest at this time. Well, for those that are doing this work in solo right now, for those that are working personally on a level right now, this could be some feelings of unrest or frustration that you are currently experiencing at this time. Some feelings of needing to recalibrate and align. And a lot of this could be putting a lot of care and attention right now in being able to see that path forward at this time, to make sure that you are navigating in that direction. Recognizing that you may be experiencing some period of frustration today, but also recognizing that there is a level of degree of patience that is required. This could also be speaking a lot today about looking where you are investing your time and energy right now, to really ask yourself if you are seeing the results that you are ideally hoping to achieve thus far. This could be really putting that point of orientation right now around some situations or circumstances that you have not seen the progress that you would ideally desire at this point, but all for that recalibration point, coming into better alignment, but having to negotiate the difficulties and hurdles along the way. Now, let's see if we can get the 4th card today for our 5-card spread for today. 4th card for our read for today is Queen of Cups in her reversal. You will recall that the last time we did our daily collective read just a few days ago, this card was also on the table. One of the hurdles and setbacks that we saw specifically for the feminine energy right now was trying to navigate that point between coming from a space of vulnerability and authenticity, but at the same time, effectively having to navigate the emotional overwhelm that such an experience of vulnerability is potentially causing in the feminine energy right now, bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what you feel most aligned to. For feminine energy right now, some of these setbacks, some of these hurdles that you may be encountering right now are putting you in a space of potentially feeling some degree or level of emotional overwhelm. What is the response to the feminine's energy going into a point of emotional overwhelm? That is either going to identify in one or two characteristics. One, this could result in some feelings of emotional outbursts today, or feeling some gravity or level of degree in over emotionality at this time. Or this could effectively feel like some point of disassociation for the feminine energy, pulling away from one's own emotionality as you try to navigate some of these experiences and setbacks and hurdles right now. This is going to be a little bit of hairy energy that we're seeing for the feminine right now. Now, for masculine energy that is working in union with feminine energy, this could be having to address any of the anxieties and fears that the feminine energy may be experiencing at this moment due to some of the feelings of emotional overwhelm that they are experiencing. This could be that point of recalibration that we're seeing for the masculine energy working in union with feminine right now to help clear that path, to help overcome those hurdles and obstacles, to help build a level or degree of seriousness in terms of clarifying where things are going, what that's going to look like, and also needing to feel that there's a need to do this sooner rather than later as it relates to being able to see that path ahead. While for the masculine energy right now that is not in partnership, this could be addressing some of the reasons why we see the feminine energy may be at a bit of an emotional distance from you right now. That this feminine energy is effectively working right now through some moments that are having some doubts, some fears, some anxieties rising up. This is navigating that space because either we're seeing for the masculine energy not necessarily in union with the feminine right now. This could be resulting in some outpouring of emotions from feminine right now that are potentially creating a point of frustration, or the feminine energy pulling back from you emotionally right now. Some of that hermit energy that we discussed that we're potentially seeing a little bit in these cards right now, because the feminine energy is not necessarily in a space or place of wanting to go into some more feelings of celebration or festivity right now, because they're trying to navigate some of these hurdles. For masculine and feminine right now, this is going to be a lot of recalibration that is effectively at play right now. Now, fifth card for our spread for today before we start to get clarification on these cards right now is, we have coming through right now, very intriguing. This is very intriguing. And this is also very intriguing as it relates to where we saw the feminine energy last time we did our reading. Because you will recall the last time we did our daily collective read, we saw the Queen of Cups in its reversal in combination with the star energy. We saw feminine energy struggling between that point of being authentic, opening up to a degree of being seen, allowing themselves to come forward in an authentic space, but also feeling a lot of care and consideration for the emotional overwhelm that was effectively causing the feminine to feel as they were going through that space. Today, we see that the feminine energy is actually channeling these feelings of emotional overwhelm into decisive action, allowing that not to necessarily be a limitation factor, which is what we really appreciate seeing right now, but instead articulating on the emotional overwhelm, utilizing their words, utilizing their set degree of action in terms of what it is that they're trying to manifest at this moment to help overcome these obstacles. So while this may feel like a challenging day for feminine, particularly in the realms of the emotional experiences that you may be having today, or feeling some uptick in your own emotional energy at this time, what we really appreciate is the fact that you are utilizing this right now. You're not allowing yourself to stay in this modality, but you are pushing past through it into creating a course of action. That is that correction energy that we are identifying here, because while some of these moments right now for the feminine are feeling somewhat overwhelming, feminine energy isn't effectively allowing themselves to stay in that trigger, but instead utilizing it to plan that course ahead as effectively as possible. Now, for the masculine energy that is currently working in union or partnership with feminine energy, this is seeing that capacity within the feminine energy. It is also recognizing the fact that you may potentially feel like you need to hold space right now for the feminine energy to allow that expression of emotionality, to allow that to be a place of outpouring. Because at the same time, while you are allowing that emotional outpour to occur, you are seeing that you are helping the feminine get back into a space of confidence, potentially even bolstering that feminine energy today to help navigate these hurdles that you are both equally experiencing that are feeling like setbacks and challenges. While for the masculine energy right now, that is not in partnership, this is going to effectively feel like a bit more of a challenging space today, because what we're really identifying is one of two separate paths potentially opening up for the masculine energy at this moment. For some of the masculine energy that is not in union right now, what we're really seeing is you are effectively working right now with a care and attention towards feminine energy that is showing some level or degree of emotional overwhelm. How are you going to recognize that emotional overwhelm today? That emotional overwhelm is either coming through in the case of an outpouring of that energy, or it's going to feel like a pullback of that energy. Either way, it's really identifying and articulating the fact that the feminine energy is at a point of emotional overwhelm. But what is interesting is for half of the collective right now of masculine energy, we see that this is potentially feminine energy articulating upon those doubts, articulating upon those fears. And it may feel that there is a point of overwhelm that you're experiencing in their articulation of that fact. But we are also seeing the fact that you are recognizing that the feminine energy is using their power of expression to help articulate and navigate that path or that clearance point going forward. Because what the feminine energy may be expressing at this point is the fact that they don't see that path forward at this time, which is where they're coming from this emotional outpouring or pullback. For the other part of the masculine collective right now, this could actually speak towards more than one feminine energy that you're currently navigating. This is either a single manifestation of feminine that is embodying these qualities right now, or different manifestations of masculine right now. Potentially one feminine energy that is around you right now that is in a space or state of emotional overwhelm, while there is another that you are seeing has this point of a calibration, has this point of articulation, has this effective ability to articulate at this time. And you may be effectively having to navigate between these 2 points to try to figure out where the path forward is between the both of them. Now, continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. Clarification between our 3 of Cups in its reversal in combination with our Chariot energy. This is some of that pre-retrograde energy that we are already seeing is showing its head. It's the Mercury retrograde is rising up right now. It starts tomorrow. Right on at the same time as the Venus in retrograde, guys. So if it's feeling a little overwhelming today, this is where it's coming from. Because what this is really identifying is some anxieties as it relates to the path going forward. Potentially having to do a lot of work right now to make sure that there is alignment or channeling that energy to make sure that their path is going forward. But it may be coming through right now and seeing some of those setbacks and obstacles that are at play and feeling like the energy around you right now isn't necessarily working in harmony overall. This could be a lot of discordant energy that we're seeing here right now. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with, love it, we've got our Knight of Wands to the rescue. We've got our Knight of Wands to the rescue, and this is good because we are also seeing the fact that to a certain degree and capacity, the masculine and the feminine energy are utilizing this as a point of movement forward. Okay, we like this. Bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what you feel most aligned to. What are we experiencing right now for the masculine energy? Well, for masculine energy that is working in union right now with feminine, there is a point of recognition of the feminine energy coming into a state of overwhelm when they feel some of these doubts and fears rising to the surface, when they can't effectively see that path ahead. There may even be a lot of discussion right now in navigating some of these hurdles, some of this energy, what isn't working, what needs to be adjusted. But we see that the masculine energy here is utilizing this as a challenge point coming forward right now with communication, new ideas, new possibilities to help articulate how to get through some of these hurdles or setbacks or challenges. For the masculine and feminine energy that is working in union right now, this is that joint effort that we're seeing. Masculine masculine energy is appreciating the fact that the feminine energy can go through a point of emotional overwhelm and not let it effectively become a debilitating moment, but instead allowing it to become an activating moment. And that is what is allowing the masculine energy in union with feminine right now to help mutually overcome these difficulties and obstacles. While for the feminine energy right now that is working in union or partnership with masculine, you are simultaneously also seeing that immediate activation point. You are recognizing and appreciating that this is a problem that is being presented today, and that there's almost an immediate course of action, an immediate communication, an immediate path ahead that is being laid or working in union with the masculine energy to try to overcome. This is a joint effort that we're seeing. Now, for the masculine and feminine energy that is not in partnership at this time, this could be a bit more of a challenging space, because what we're really identifying right now is, again, there is some point of articulation that is coming through right now in having to identify and articulate the difficulties in collaboration, the difficulties in seeing that path ahead, some anxieties or fears potentially even around outside energy being at play right now. That is potentially also causing some of these anxieties about the path forward at this time. Feminine energy is effectively tolerating or working through this right now because it is creating a state or place of emotional overwhelm for the feminine energy. But what we appreciate is whether that is coming through right now as an emotional outpouring or as a pullback of energy, feminine energy is doing their best to try to articulate and plan around it. So there could be a lot of communication, even for the energies that are not in partnership, around why things are not working or what is the issue that is effectively preventing some path forward at this time. For masculine's part, this could even be articulating this towards feminine energy at the same time. But we do see a lot of communication coming into play today, even for the energies that are not effectively in partnership. It will be a bit more difficult for the feminine, because we're seeing here that there's a lot more emotionality at play right now. Masculine is really in a place right now of trying to drive forward, even regardless of some of these setbacks, even regardless of some of these challenges, really trying to communicate through a place of their passion, through the place of what they are really ideally desiring and aspiring for right now. So this is going to feel like this could be a bit of a challenge point for the energy that is not necessarily in partnership right now, because there could be a lot of identification on what is not working today to see if there is a path forward. For masculine, this could even be, again, a single manifestation of feminine that you are experiencing or seeing is in this point of emotional overwhelm, but they're doing their best to communicate around it right now. Or for some of the masculine energy, this is potentially communicating with multiple manifestations of feminine, some that are more articulate in terms of the ability to plan around it, some that you may be experiencing a point of just experiencing the emotional overwhelm that the situation or circumstance is causing or drawing out of the feminine. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Chariot energy in its reversal in combination with our Seven of Pentacles in its reversal. So a moment or feeling right now that you are actively experiencing some point of frustration, some point of anxiety or annoyance in terms of how long something is taken. There's a point right now of really assessing where you are investing your time and energy right now to decide if there is a clearance path, if there is a way forward around some circumstances and situations right now. But there's a lot of articulation that is effectively happening right now in seeing some of the challenges, identifying that some of the reason you may not necessarily be seeing this progress that you would ideally desire at this moment is a feeling that the energy around you isn't necessarily aligned to what you yourself are trying to drive forward at this moment. This is a lot of care and orientation in terms of what's not working today. May I please have one card to clarify? That's way more than one, but we're going to take the top card. Hold on a moment. All right, we appreciate this. We've got here our Six of Wands coming through, but we like this. This is why we see that point of activation that's coming through, even through some of this setback or hurdle or challenge, because there is a feeling right now of really being on the cusp of something that could be very positive and victorious right now. This is that moment that is why we're seeing this level or degree of impatience right now, because while we are seeing the fact that there is this point that feels like it is a challenge moment at this time, there is even a point of recognition that identifying the challenge is the point of victory. Getting to the heart of what isn't working, getting to the heart of what isn't aligned is, in a way, allowing a degree or capacity of positivity coming through this situation or circumstance, because this is really putting your head to the work right now. It's putting your point of activation in to help you orient in terms of where you feel your success is going to lie at this time, versus any spaces or places right now that you don't necessarily feel like you are seeing that degree or level of alignment. Masculine and feminine energy right now are working through some of these setbacks and challenges. But what we appreciate about this right now is, even in the discovery or the understanding of what isn't effectively working, that in itself is a victory point, because it's allowing you to pull back your energy to invest in those spaces and places that you're seeing the long-term ability for growth and possibility. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Seven of Pentacles in its reversal in combination with our Queen of Cups energy. So navigating some spaces or places for the feminine energy. As I mentioned, this is going to feel like a bit of an emotional overwhelm today. Feeling that point of frustration, but recognizing that is also due to a degree of impatience that you're currently having at this moment. Feminine energy is putting themselves to work today to try to navigate these spaces to determine where they are going to invest their energy going forward from this point. But the work of doing this is creating a bit of emotional overwhelm for the feminine, which is either going to express itself, as I said, as that overabundance of emotionality at this time, or that withdrawing of emotional energy at this moment. For masculine, this is experiencing this on the side of the feminine energy, potentially even having to build some level or degree of certainty or convincing the feminine energy that there is something here that has that long-term growth potential. Having to navigate that space of clarity for the feminine right now. For the masculine energy that is in partnership, this is a lot of that work that you're doing at this time to help alleviate the feminine energy's own doubts and fears at this moment. While for masculine energy that is not in partnership right now, this may be getting to the heart and getting a deeper understanding on what is preventing the feminine energy from either building that emotional connection for you at this time, or why the feminine energy is at a point of emotional overwhelm. May I please have one card to clarify? Come on, just one, please. Cards are popping today. Clarification coming through right now with our Knight of Pentacles. This is productive. I got to stress this. While we are seeing some challenges coming to the surface right now, we see that they are coming in a very productive way. The masculine energy right now is looking for opportunities to be able to alleviate some of these difficulties, some of these hurdles. Masculine energy is seeing the feminine energy at this point of unrest or emotional overwhelm. And masculine energy is almost immediately effectively responding in kind. Again, and what we appreciate about this is the moment that is showing a point of deep understanding, deep clarification in terms of what is effectively causing any of these limitations or setbacks at this time, all for the sake of being able to provide tangible support to help the feminine energy through it. Now, for the masculine and feminine energy that are working in partnership right now, this is where we see that positive collaboration coming through, even in the space of challenges or setbacks that you're currently experiencing. We are recognizing here that you feel a point that there is a point of victory, that these are issues that can be overcome with tangible support from the masculine in a way to help the feminine through some of the emotional overwhelm that they are experiencing. While for the masculine and the feminine energy that is in partnership at this time, not in partnership at this time, this is trying to work through some of these setbacks or hurdles or challenges. Because what we're really identifying right now is for the feminine energy, this is that point of really trying to identify what you feel is working, what you feel is in alignment right now. And it has everything to do for the feminine energy with seeing that possibility of long-term growth, of something that feels sustainable and productive at this time. And feminine energy is pushing away a lot of energy that they feel is not necessarily in alignment with them. We've been seeing this throughout the entire Venus in retrograde cycle. This has been a path of moving into better harmony right now in terms of not just what the feminine energy is trying to do right now, but feeling like the energy that they're in alignment with is mutually on the same path and on the same goal. Feminine energy right now is feeling some of the overwhelm in experiencing this right now. But what we appreciate about it is feminine isn't staying in that space. They are utilizing this to articulate, to plan, to move forward in terms of their course of action at this time. And this could, as I said, be a lot of communication today prior to the start of the Mercury retrograde cycle in helping to identify what the hurdles and limitations are for the feminine and why we see the feminine energy has been effectively pulling back over the last few weeks. You'll recall we have not been seeing a lot of feminine energy on the table over the last few weeks because feminine energy has been going very much inwards, working on themselves through this Venus in retrograde cycle. Masculine energy today that is not necessarily in partnership is also going to be getting a lot of clarity today in terms of understanding and identifying some of these anxiety points that the feminine energy is feeling right now around where something is headed, whether the energy feels like they are in alignment to them, whether there is that long-term growth possibility here. And what we appreciate with the masculine energy, even if there's not a partnership going through right now, is this point of identifying where you yourself feel your passion lies. Masculine energy has been utilizing this Venus in retrograde cycle to really identify what their heart desire is at this moment. Masculine energy is trying to move towards it right now with a sense of great victory or being able to achieve or overcome any of the hurdles that they are experiencing, because masculine energy is effectively understanding right now that the path forward has to lie in communication and tangible expressions of what they are trying to say. Masculine energy is kind of being called to service today in terms of really identifying, putting their money where their mouth is, as it were, in terms of a lot of the partnerships that they're potentially working through today, especially in the relationships of the feminine right now, because feminine energy is effectively, as we said, only allowing in the energy that is basically showing this degree or understanding or this ability to come forward and not necessarily let the feminine energy waste their time and energy on things that are not showing the results of what they are putting into them at this time. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Queen of Cups in its reversal in combination with our Queen of Wands energy. We love seeing these two cards in combination right now. I mean, we don't ideally love seeing the Queen of Cups in her reversal in any capacity. But if we have to see the Queen of Cups in her reversal, we love seeing it with the Queen of Wands. Because what we're identifying right now is feminine energy is navigating a point of emotional overwhelm through divisive, decisive action. Feminine energy knows what it is that they're trying to achieve at this moment. They're understanding their own blockages. They're also recognizing their own personal limitations as it relates to their own emotional center right now. Feminine energy isn't allowing themselves to stay in this capacity, but is instead channeling it into active energy to be able to make the accommodations necessary, to have the communications necessary to help them navigate this hurdle or difficulty that they're experiencing. Again, if in union with masculine energy right now, you are feminine energy is getting that support through some point of emotional overwhelm at this time that is allowing them this degree or capacity to do this at this moment. While for masculine energy that is in union right now, this is potentially seeing or recognizing the feminine energy around you, working through some of these hurdles and setbacks and challenges at this time. For masculine and feminine energy that are not in union right now, this is going to be a bit of that challenging space. There may be a lot of conversations that have to take place today around the emotional place that we find the feminine in today, because we do see while the feminine is in a point of emotional overwhelm, they are certainly willing to be somewhat articulate about it, even if that means that they're withdrawing their own emotional energy at this point because of some of these doubts and fears. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with 10 of Wands in its reversal. All of these blockages that we're seeing right now, they are being brought to the surface to find a point of easement going forward. This is what we like so much to see, because feminine energy is identifying right now that they are deeply seeking that point of easement. They don't want to be having to go through spaces or places that are becoming too challenging at this time. For the feminine energy that is navigating these hurdles right now, this is about overcoming those obstacles and recognizing that the feminine energy, you will identify the fact that we noticed some feelings of overwhelm over the last few weeks. Feminine energy is effectively working right now to make things easier for themselves so that they won't necessarily get in this space or place of emotional overwhelm, because feminine energy is effectively looking right now and feeling potentially a bit too overburdened right now, potentially putting a lot of care and assessment in terms of their obligations, where they're having their energy. A lot of that conservation of energy that we've been identifying that the feminine energy has been working on through this retrograde cycle is effectively being put into practice today to come into a state of deeper easement. While for the masculine energy that is working right now with the feminine, this is a joint effort that we are seeing is being identified, trying to find that path forward that is going to allow for a mutual sense of easement, giving that level or degree of confidence at this time, helping you to recognize and articulate what needs to be navigated, what needs to be cleared to make things easier for both energies going forward right now. For the masculine and feminine energy that are not in union right now, this is going to be some of that challenge that we see today, because what we're really identifying is that the feminine energy needs some point or degree of confidence that things will be easier going forward. Feminine energy is potentially even articulating today to masculine energy, bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what you feel most aligned to, their own anxieties and fears as it relates to both outside energy, the path going forward, and whether there is that long-term ability to grow in the partnership into something better, to allow that degree of confidence that this is something that can be overcome, that will be made easier. For masculine today, this could be a moment of identifying feminine energy that is effectively expressing this feeling, that is expressing this articulation point towards a masculine right now. And the masculine energy is effectively in a space or state right now where they are working very tenaciously to try to mutually overcome these hurdles. There could be a lot of communication today on what the masculine could potentially provide to create this level or degree of stability to help the feminine energy feel more confident that there will be a point of easement going forward. And this could be effectively, as I said, for the masculine energy that is not in partnership at this time. This could even be navigating potentially more than one feminine energy that is in this modality, or having to make some point of choice at this time. Because what we're really identifying at this moment is this is either a singular manifestation for masculine right now of a feminine energy that is, again, at a point of emotional overwhelm, but feeling very communicative about it, or articulating their own withdrawing of emotionality at this time, the reasons why that may be occurring. For the other part of the masculine energy right now, this may be looking or recognizing the fact that a choice may effectively be made. Why am I saying that? Because we've got our Three of Cups in its reversal, Chariot energy in its reversal, and we've also got the different manifestations potentially of feminine here, and masculine is potentially working right now to determine which path to go down right now, because we did see that for some of the masculine energy right now, a new cycle was opening during this retrograde period. Now, continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Knight of Wands in combination with our Six of Wands. We really love seeing these two cards in combination, particularly for the masculine energy right now, because these are very positive cards that we're seeing for masculine energy at this moment. Because what we're really seeing right now is masculine energy is finding a way to navigate any of these pitfalls, any of these moments that feel like they are snags right now in terms of your goals going forward, through active communication. Feeling there's almost something here that's coming through for masculine that feels like it is an implied victory. There's a lot of confidence here that we're seeing for the masculine energy right now, because there's some kind of point or degree that is effectively occurring right now, particularly as it relates to the masculine, as it relates to what the feminine is saying right now, where you feel like you can alleviate some of these points of uncertainty, that there's something here about the fact that the feminine energy is articulating them, that you are really trying to drive forward with your own desire and your passion right now, and allowing that to be the point of victory to a certain extent. Because I am seeing the fact that there is some kind of communication channel that feels like it's more open today as it relates to this prior to this Mercury retrograde starting. For feminine and masculine energy right now that is working in partnership, feminine is also seeing this ability or degree of masculine, kind of coming into the rescue, if you will, even as you're experiencing some of these setbacks and challenges. And this is what is defining or allowing you to feel this sense of mutual victory at this moment. While for the masculine energy, for the feminine energy right now that is not in partnership right now, this is even a point of victory that you yourself are also experiencing. Because what we're really identifying at this time for the feminine energy is this is that point that you are identifying and you're getting clarity on what you are identifying is your blockage at this point. You are communicating that. You have a way to communicate that. This is the work that we've seen you've been doing during this retrograde period in deeper understanding right now. And this is allowing a level of degree of just communicating right now to see if the masculine energy can come forward with this point of victory. And for the feminine energy, the victory that is effectively implied here, even if you're not in partnership, is that point of clarification. Because we're seeing here that feminine energy is very much in a space where they are telling exactly what they need to masculine energy at this point, to see if the masculine energy has the ability and degree to come forward and provide what they are asking for. And that, in a sense, is allowing this degree of victory for feminine that is not in partnership at this moment, because even that understanding, even that communication of what can and cannot be offered at this time is the point of clarification for the feminine that is allowing this victory to occur. While for masculine, this is more about having that point of confidence, allowing that communication to come through, allowing your passion to really drive you forward towards your point of victory at this time. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with, oh my goodness, we love to see this in its upright, because last time we pulled, my friends, this was in its reversal. Masculine energy right now is feeling a lot more confident than where they were a few days ago. I say that because, my friends, we had these two cards out, same cards just a few days ago, but the difference was they were in their reversal. Masculine energy was going through a point of instability just a couple of days ago. This is effectively cleared itself up. Why is that? Well, we're seeing here because to a certain level or degree right now, masculine energy is understanding what needs to be adjusted, what needs to be fixed. They're feeling that security and stability within themselves right now. They're also feeling a lot of a surge of confidence in terms of moving forward, in terms of your creativity, your projects, your passions right now. And this is giving the masculine energy a surge of confidence right now in terms of the stability that they're creating for themselves at this moment. This confidence and this feeling of stability is what is allowing the masculine energy to be so communicative at this time. I'm really getting this like vibe of like this, like, you know, almost marathon rush right now prior to this retrograde starting for masculine coming into a space of security. So for the masculine right now, even identifying what some of these setbacks are is helping the masculine to articulate upon them, because we see here that the feminine energy is open to expressing these concerns. Masculine and feminine energy that are working in partnership right now, this is some of that dual energy that we are seeing to help navigate these shortcomings, to help navigate these pitfalls, to help navigate these hurdles. This is that combination energy at work that is building an architecture of stability for the union energy together right now. And feminine energy, while they may be feeling a point of emotional overwhelm right now, they are getting that support from the masculine that is helping them almost immediately bounce out of it and utilize it in a practical way of making adjustments at this time. While for the masculine and feminine energy right now that is not in partnership, this could be dealing a lot in the realms of communication at this moment, because we're seeing here that the masculine energy is coming through right now from a point of feeling a level or degree of stability at this moment. They are articulating upon it, and they are articulating effectively on their points of confidence, on their point of victory, potentially towards the feminine energy at this time. For some of the masculine energy right now, this is either communication with a single feminine energy that you identify and recognize is in this point of activation, while still even going through some sets of emotional overwhelm or emotional disassociating or pulling back on their emotional energy. This is a very pragmatic energy that we're seeing that the masculine is moving towards right now that has this degree or facility. Well, for the other part of the masculine energy right now, this might not necessarily be a single manifestation of feminine. This could be more than one manifestation of feminine energy that's around you at this time, but you are feeling some level of confidence and degree in terms of being able to come forward to a certain extent in terms of what you're offering. We see that because you're coming from a point of stability and from a point of communication. You're experiencing this level or degree of victory at this time, even as you're navigating some setbacks and challenges at this time around the feminine energy, because you feel to a certain extent that you have a solution to some of these problems is what we're really seeing. While for feminine energy right now, what we're really identifying is this is a moment that you yourself are also experiencing that point of activation. For the feminine energy right now, this is also you articulating. Even if you're going through a point of emotional overwhelm right now, feminine energy is doing a lot of work. They're moving things today. They're working to have that degree of easement going forward. And for some of the feminine energy that's not in partnership right now, this is communicating those needs to masculine energy that is around you at this time. And I will also say, considering we're seeing it here, this could be more than one masculine energy right now for the unattached feminine energy that is allowing you this care or degree of positivity, even as you are going through some of this emotional overwhelm. Why do I say that right now? Because we're seeing here that there's something about the masculine energy that is around the feminine today that feels like it is very supportive, that feels like it is very communicative, even if there's some difficulties or degree of having to navigate some hurdles and challenges right now, feminine energy is utilizing that as the articulation point to see if the masculine energy can rise to the challenge, as it were, in helping to build the supportive environment for feminine right now. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Seven of Swords in combination with our Knight of Pentacles energy. So we are seeing here for masculine right now, there is this point of feeling a level or degree of victory at this moment, moving and navigating right now through some point of confidence and certainty, allowing that to be that point of victory that you are building right now. If you are working right now in partnership with feminine energy, this is alleviating some of those doubts and fears that you're currently experiencing. You are coming immediately to the center. You're immediately offering the support for the feminine energy that is required to help the feminine energy come into that point of deeper activation right now, even through a moment of emotional overwhelm. While for the masculine energy that is not in partnership, and for feminine energy, this is something that is union. This is simultaneously you experiencing and seeing this level or degree of support, which is also giving you the confidence through the point of emotional overwhelm. Now, for the masculine energy that is not in partnership right now, this is still that moment of confidence, or that feeling of confidence that you are having at this moment, allowing a certain degree of support to come through the feminine energy that you feel is allowing this level or degree of communication. To the masculine energy right now, what we're really seeing is feeling that the communication with feminine energy is effectively the victory. That any communication coming through from feminine, even if that feminine energy is in a point of emotional overwhelm, that in itself is the victory to a certain extent that is allowing you some degree or capacity of being able to come forward towards this energy. So for the masculine energy, that's why we're seeing some of this like feeling of victory at this time. Now, again, as I said, for the masculine energy that is not in partnership at this time, this is either dealing with the feminine energy that has pulled their own emotionality from you at this point, or is in a point of emotional overwhelm. But again, what are they doing throughout it? They're being very communicative. They're being very communicative about it. And that, in a sense, is creating this confidence in the masculine that this is something that can be fixed. For the other part of the masculine energy right now, this is potentially more than one manifestation of feminine that you are working on right now, that there's something here about having to navigate. But again, we see that there are these avenues or openings right now with some of the feminine energy that is communicative, and that's helping you navigate any spaces with other manifestations of feminine that you feel are at a point of either not communicating or even being in a point of overwhelm. This could even be trying to get advice or insight from other feminine energy on how to navigate some of these hurdles and challenges at this time. Can I please get one card to clarify between universal practical work being done today, allowing that level or degree of practicality to come to play, allowing this to be a day of really getting things done. And what we appreciate about this is you'll see that we start the day having to navigate some of these hurdles or difficulties, recognizing the challenges that are effectively coming through right now. But what we really appreciate is for both masculine and feminine energy, these hurdles are not building a degree of a stumble. They are being used to immediately move into a place of activation, making immediate changes, putting that channeled energy into immediate, tangible impact to adjust for any of those hurdles or difficulties, okay? For the masculine and feminine energy that are in partnership at this moment, what we're really identifying is this is that moment that we are seeing that you are utilizing your own ability to adjust, to make adjustments right now, to allow this care and capacity of greater support to come through. Masculine energy right now, if you are in union with feminine, you are utilizing this time right now to really recognize what needs to be adjusted, what needs to be fixed, to be able to have easement as you proceed forward from this time. Even navigating a space or place right now with feminine energy that may be feeling like a point of emotional overwhelm, but seeing a lot of that practical result being put into action to create that greater sense of easement going forward from this time. While for the feminine energy right now, what we're really identifying is if you are in union, you are also seeing this from your partnership energy. Masculine that is effectively immediately rising to the challenge with communication and with practical results, practical adjustments to be made to allow for that degree of easement, which is creating a surge of confidence at this time, even through some emotional challenges. Now, for the masculine and feminine energy that are not in partnership right now, what we're really identifying is the fact that you are utilizing this moment to effectively communicate what some of those hurdles or challenges are at this time. For feminine and masculine, we see that communication is very abundant today. So even if there is something that is occurring right now, we see that a lot of the articulation could be in identifying what the problem is. Masculine may be getting a lot of communication, if you're not in partnership today, around the anxieties of the feminine as it relates to, again, outside energy, the ability to make sure that you are in alignment and on the same page in terms of where you are effectively going, and some frustration points in terms of the timeline on that progress right now. This is what we see are the challenging points for the feminine energy that is in a point of overwhelm right now. We see that masculine energy is feeling at a point of confidence right now. And again, some of this is effectively being communicated to masculine energy from, again, a feminine energy that is very potentially feeling a point of emotional overwhelm about it, but is very articulate about it, a single manifestation of feminine, or potentially more than one manifestation of feminine at this time. Maybe one that is communicating a lot about this right now and is in too much of a point of overwhelm to be able to discuss with them, or this is why they're pulling their energy back. This could be masculine even getting some advice or insight in terms of how to navigate some of these challenging spaces that they are experiencing from another feminine, with a feminine that understands. May I please have one card to clarify? But we really appreciate about this more than anything is the fact that we're really seeing that this is that moment of coming into adjustment, allowing for those adjustments, allowing for immediate action to be happening right now. A lot of this Mercury retrograde, just running up until the deadline, if you will, in terms of having these things accommodated and adjusted for prior to this retrograde starting. Now, continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Knight of Pentacles in combination with the Ten of Wands in its reversal. What is masculine being called to come forward with today? Making things easier for the feminine energy. Masculine energy effectively is being called forth to make things easier for the feminine energy. And there's something that masculine recognizes right now and this is where we see that point of victory coming through, because this is that moment that we are really identifying that the masculine is recognizing what they need to put forth at this time that is going to allow for this state or place of greater easement. For the masculine and the feminine energy that is working in partnership at this time, this is that joint effort. Feminine energy is articulating their own emotional concerns around circumstances and situations. Masculine energy is immediately putting in that practical support to help the feminine energy through it, which is creating a state of easement. It is allowing a cycle to become easier at this time. While for the masculine and the feminine energy that are not in partnership at this moment, what we're really identifying at this time is getting that clarification as to whether something can be made easier. For the feminine energy at this time that is going through a point of feeling some point of emotional overwhelm at the time, feminine is also communicating on this at the same moment. And this is what is allowing this degree for the feminine in terms of recognizing and understanding whether the masculine energy can make these adjustments, because feminine energy is effectively saying to masculine they need to see this and they need to see these changes sooner rather than later. And feminine energy is being very articulate in what they need to see today to be able to feel more confident going forward. Masculine energy that is not in partnership at this time, we are recognizing that there is a point of clarification that you are now understanding the hurdle that effectively needs to be addressed in some way, shape, or form right now. Masculine energy is recognizing what this hurdle is and is putting immediate care and attention right now in what needs to be accommodated or adjusted to allow for that point of easement going forward. Recognizing again that this is either a feminine energy that has withdrawn their emotionality from you, could not even potentially not even be in communication with them on an emotional level right now, but recognizing that the communication is still very active and present, or that there's something here that can be communicated upon. And even that in a certain degree or capacity for the masculine energy that is not in partnership is feeling like it is creating a level or degree or strength of confidence for you to try to articulate how you can make these adjustments going forward. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with, what have we been saying, my friends? What have we been saying? This card has been coming up like hotcakes throughout this entire Venus in retrograde cycle. Clarity, 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 okay? We're seeing here that there's a point of clarity, of honesty, of openness that is coming forward from this time. What did the feminine energy need? What has the feminine energy been asking for throughout this Venus in retrograde cycle? Clarity, understanding, the clear path forward. This is why the feminine energy has been pulling back to a certain degree, because the feminine energy needs to have this point of understanding. They need to have these truths revealed. They need to have this clarity brought forth to a certain extent. The lack of clarity is what is effectively creating some of the stumbling points right now. Because for feminine energy that is not in partnership right now, there could be some anxieties at play rising to the surface right now, potentially around third-party energy. Whether you feel like you're in alignment with the partnership energy in terms of going in the same direction, seeing that path forward. And there's also a lot of care and attention that feminine energy is paying to whether situations and circumstances have that possibility for long-term growth potential. Feminine energy is effectively looking for those results today in the form of communication, clarification, and tangible results. Feminine energy is being very open and honest and expressive in this way, even as it relates to their own feelings of emotional doubt and uncertainty at this moment, to be able to identify if the masculine energy around them can effectively rise to the challenge. Can they come through and provide what is needed at this time? Feminine energy is getting that point of clarification by immediately seeing results from the masculine right now in terms of giving them what they are asking for, or If they're not seeing that right now, that is also a victory for the feminine, because it is clarifying their own anxieties and doubts and fears at this moment. It is creating that point of clarity that they in fact have recognized a block, a stumble, something here that is not necessarily allowing for that progress forward. Feminine energy as effectively utilizing these doubts and fears to help come into an activation point going forward. Now, for the masculine and the feminine right now that are in partnership, what we're really seeing is this is that level or degree of honesty that is coming to the surface right now, utilizing this level and degree of honesty that is helping you find that clearer path forward right now. And it is a challenging space. We see the fact that there are hurdles and limitations that need to be addressed, but doing so from a place of clarity and honesty is what is also allowing for that point of easement. While for the masculine and feminine energy that is not in partnership right now, this is identifying the path forward through clarity. Masculine energy, you're effectively potentially being put to task today to not only come forward right now in a tangible way and also in a communicative way, but there's something here about coming forward with the truth, with the honesty, with what is being asked for that is building your own sense of confidence at this moment, because we're seeing that there's something around these circumstances or situations that are building this level of degree of security for you. You're feeling more stable in being able to do this work at this time. While for feminine energy right now, what we're really, and for masculine, I will also point out that if you are not necessarily getting this point of clarity immediately from the feminine, if this is a single feminine energy that is effectively just communicating their doubts or fears, this is potentially coming through right now with masculine energy, getting a deeper understanding, if not from feminine energy, potentially from other feminine energy that is around them right now, that is helping them build this deeper understanding on what they need to do to go forward from this point. While for the feminine energy right now, this is effectively just seeing, getting the results of your action, requesting the results of your action right now, utilizing this point of emotional overwhelm to build this point of clarity. And clarity for the feminine right now is coming one way or another. It's either articulating a need and having that need met, or articulating a need, recognizing that the need isn't being met in the way that you would desire. And that in itself is also giving you the clarity that you need to have that path forward right now. Continuing to get clarity on these cards right now between our King of Pentacles in combination with our Ace of Wands in its reversal. Masculine energy, feeling from a point of security today, putting a lot of that time, effort, and energy in terms of what you are trying to achieve right now, be it in your passions, be it in your projects, be it in your communication with feminine. This, if you are in partnership with feminine, this is doing a lot of that practical work right now to allow for that easement of the clarity of the path going forward right now, putting a lot of that work and practice into play right now. For feminine energy that is in partnership, this is recognizing this in the partnership energy that's around you right now, feeling that stability of the supportive energy that's around you, and also allowing mutual ability to push forward right now through challenging circumstances, doing what you need to do at this time as you continue forward from this point. For masculine energy that is not in partnership, this is still creating a lot of stability at this time, because there's some point, a level of deeper understanding that is coming into play right now that is giving you some point of activation at this time. While for feminine energy right now, this is a moment where you are effectively utilizing what is being done around you right now, seeing the tangible results of you stating your needs to build clarity on whether something is coming forward the way that you would ideally desire or not, which is also creating a point of victory and activation for you at this time. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our Strength in its reversal. There is a feeling right now that we are seeing. This is vulnerable work right now. This is articulating some of that emotionality that we are seeing right now from the feminine energy, because what we're really identifying at this time is, again, the feminine energy is working through some challenges and hurdles right now. They're actively working through emotionally triggering or difficult emotional experiences at this time that have them in a state or place of emotional overwhelm at this moment. But what we appreciate about this is feminine energy is even now channeling that same level or degree of vulnerability. They're not letting letting it come through to a certain extent and overwhelm them. Instead, they're just pushing on through it. And I do always love seeing the strength in its reversal, because what we're really seeing here is this is requiring a different type of strength. This is strength through a point of vulnerability. For feminine right now, a lot of the work that you're doing today, it's going to feel like a little bit of an upward battle, but one that you are effectively achieving, because the victory is over your own ability to move forward and navigate even as you're going through a point of emotional overwhelm at this time. That, in a sense, is the victory that the feminine is effectively achieving right now, because feminine is still holding in that space of emotional vulnerability, expressing their own anxieties and fears in a very articulate way right now. While for masculine that is also experiencing this point of vulnerability, this is some of that confidence also coming in. Because while masculine energy may also simultaneously be feeling somewhat vulnerable, in a way almost aligning or reflecting the feminine's moment right now, masculine energy isn't effectively letting that stop them at this time. Masculine energy is continuing to be that supportive energy for themselves and those around them at this time, putting that practical energy into play even as they are feeling somewhat vulnerable. For the masculine and feminine energy that are working in partnership at this time, this is that joint effort. Navigating some situations or circumstances that make you feel somewhat vulnerable, but doing it in harmony, allowing that vulnerability to actually act as a point of strength that is helping you overcome any of the doubts, the fears, the setbacks, and challenges at this time. And this is going to feel like some very raw, vulnerable work that you are doing today for masculine and feminine, even if you are in partnership at this moment. While for the masculine and feminine energy that is not in partnership at this time, this is going to feel a little bit different. Because for feminine energy right now, we see the fact that feminine energy is calling the masculine energy to task to a certain extent. They are needing to see the results for what they are saying that they need. They are looking right now for tangible, immediate results in what is being stated as their own doubts and fears being alleviated to a certain degree. Feminine energy is building their point of clarity through the immediate action of the masculine energy that they are asking this from. And this could even be coming from a point of just requesting openness, requesting honesty. Feminine energy is getting victory from this one way or another. Feminine energy is either getting victory from this in receiving what they are asking for, which is allowing that degree of feeling victorious through this right now, or feminine energy in not receiving that is also receiving victory because it is confirming feminine energy's doubts and fears. This is a difficult place to be, but it is also very vulnerable. It's allowing for action to be taken, but it is very vulnerable for the feminine to put themselves in this space or place because their emotionality is on the line. The clarification and what they're receiving back could be very emotionally difficult at this moment. While for masculine energy, this is simultaneously, if you are not in partnership, that moment that you yourself are also. What is the feminine energy effectively asking you to come forward with? Honesty, clarity. This is very, very challenging for you. This is where we see this vulnerable energy coming through right now with our strength and its reversal, because it is forcing you to have to inhabit a vulnerable space to be able to come forward with this level of degree of clarity. But you now recognize and understand what is being asked of you. It is being offered. You see the offer, you see the opportunity, you have the deeper level of understanding. This is that question about whether you feel confident to put forward in that way, shape, or degree right now. And it is somewhat challenging because we're seeing that for some of the masculine energy right now, this is potentially feeling like this is a singular feminine energy, that you're building the understanding on why they've effectively pulled back emotionally from you because they're articulating upon it. Or for some of the masculine energy, there's effectively work that you're doing right now in understanding what some hurdle or challenge is. And also recognizing, again, potentially multiple feminine energies that are around you at this time that you are navigating as you try to understand the issues around this singular one. You could even be reaching out to other feminine energy at this time right now to try to get clarity in terms of what is effectively needed or needs to be adjusted right now. But again, there's a point right now of understanding, of recognition, that aha moment for masculine that is now calling you to task to see if you can be vulnerable enough to be able to provide this as you go forward from this point. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Ace of Wands in its reversal and our Moon card in its reversal. Beautiful energy that we're seeing here, because the clarity coming through immediately allows for some point of action. It immediately allows for some point, a level or degree of productivity. The clarification is effectively unlocking the ability to be productive right now. Feminine is effectively utilizing this right now and is effectively seeking that point of clarity, seeking that point of confirmation, even especially as it relates to the plans ahead or any uncertainties or doubts or fears that they're feeling at this time. Feminine energy is being very articulate on them right now. While for masculine energy, this is simultaneously also a moment that you're getting or building this degree of clarity right now that is helping you be able to immediately apply, again, changes and adjustments for feminine energy and masculine energy that are in partnership right now. This is masculine energy really coming in a supportive way to assist or aid feminine energy going through a point of emotional overwhelm right now. Or for the masculine energy that is not in partnership at this moment, this is a deeper understanding on what you need to bring into something in order to bring it into manifestation. That's that point of clarity. That is that point of truth. That is that point of understanding on what needs to be offered in order to be able to find that path forward that you are seeking at this time. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our King of Swords in its reversal. We have been seeing this over and over again right now as it relates to the masculine energy. This is challenging work for the masculine energy, even the masculine energy that is in union and in partnership right now. This is some of that vulnerability coming to bear right now, because what we're really seeing right now is this is deep, raw work. Being able to come from this space of authenticity, being able to come from this space of clarity and transparency, much as it creates a sense of emotional overwhelm for the feminine right now. We are simultaneously also seeing that it builds a moment for masculine that feels like it robs them of a certain degree of confidence. It feels like it is taking away it's like creating a space where you yourself are lacking some confidence in this area because it is requiring a level of truth that feels very vulnerable at this time. For masculine and feminine energy that are in partnership at this moment, this is the masculine energy feeling like they can be in a space where they can be vulnerable. This is masculine energy recognizing that they are in a safe space to put their guard down, even as the feminine energy is also in a space where they are feeling very emotionally sensitive at this moment, because we're seeing here that masculine energy and feminine energy are effectively harmonizing if they are in union, because feminine energy is lending support to the masculine right now through their own feelings of vulnerability, much as the masculine energy is providing stability and support for a feminine energy that is going through emotional vulnerability. For the masculine and feminine energy that is not in partnership, this is more of a challenging space, because what we're really seeing right now is effectively the feminine energy is at a point where they're asking something from the masculine energy that puts them in a space of feeling very vulnerable. This is that moment that we're seeing again, the feminine is building clarity to see if the masculine energy is equal to the challenge of being just as vulnerable as the feminine is at this time. It is requiring, feminine is effectively requiring the masculine to be able to do this work with them, to be able to show that they can rise to the challenge in alleviating the feminine's doubts and fears. How is the feminine's doubts and fears being alleviated right now? Through honesty, through clarity, regardless of what that is. And that is what's creating this moment for masculine, that while they are feeling confident, they are also kind of pulling back to a certain degree masculine, because you're recognizing that this is a bit of a trigger, that this is a bit of what is being asked of you feels like it is something that makes you feel rather vulnerable, even as you are trying to offer it. So for some of the masculine energy right now, this is that moment in trying to decide whether you feel like you have that confidence, whether you have that ability, whether this is a safe space for you to be able to do so around the feminine. Because what we're really seeing from the masculine energy that is not in partnership right now, we are identifying and recognizing the fact that you are navigating either a singular feminine space that is in a point of emotional overwhelm, but they're being very articulate about it, or this is more than one feminine energy around you right now, masculine, and you're trying to navigate what you have to effectively provide right now in order to build that supportive center right now. Because we're seeing here that while there may be some feminine energy that you are not necessarily in communication and contact with because they're in a point of emotional overwhelm, we see that there's other feminine energy that you are having the exact opposite circumstance or situation from. In fact, you're almost building a lot of clarity and understanding what was a preventative blocker from this feminine being able to be open and honest toward you to a certain extent. And even in this space, it is creating a moment that you yourself are feeling somewhat vulnerable. Like the vulnerability is coming to the surface right now, even as you're working on building and maintaining that point of stability. And it's all coming from the source of deeper understanding and clarity. Final cards for today's spread between our Strength card in its reversal in combination with our King of Swords in its reversal. So masculine energy going through a moment right now where you are potentially feeling somewhat vulnerable. There's something here that is coming to the surface right now that feels like a point of weakness, even as you're navigating and going through a point of stability at this time. There's something here that is feeling like it is a bit of a challenging space, or you're being required to be vulnerable in a way that you are not used to. This is a deeper level of strength that you are learning to work today as it relates to being strong in a moment where it is difficult to be strong. A lot of potential doubts and fears coming to the surface today in terms of what you are effectively communicating and how it will be taken, and what you feel is also creating that safe, supportive system for you. Even for the energy that is in partnership right now. For masculine and feminine, this is a bit of a challenging space. It's requiring a bit of this hard work. It is creating a space for feminine that's creating a moment of emotional overwhelm. For masculine, it's creating a point of feeling very vulnerable at this time, working very hard to come into a state of strength, even as you're working and putting a lot of energy and effort into what you're trying to build for yourself at this moment. While for the feminine and masculine energy that are not in partnership right now, this is feeling a bit different, because what we see here is what feminine energy is effectively asking the masculine energy to come forward with right now is potentially some level of clarity on things. And it is recognizing whether the masculine energy has the strength and the confidence and the vulnerability to be forward and to be transparent and clear in this regard, or if they're going to go into a space of potentially holding back or hiding, not necessarily being able to be that full expression of guilt, giving that clarity to the feminine right now, which is going to help the feminine also understand how to move forward from this point. While for masculine energy that is not in, and I will point out for some of the feminine energy right now, this could even speak to that is not in partnership. Simultaneously, as we saw with the masculine right now, this could even be speaking towards more than one manifestation of masculine that is around the feminine energy that is not in partnership at this time. Because what we're really identifying at this moment, again, is for feminine, this is either a single manifestation of masculine that is very stable and communicative, but also to a certain extent has some degree of vulnerability here or some uncertainty that needs to be navigated. While for other parts of the collective right now, this is effectively talking potentially around more than one masculine energy, some that is showing this capacity and degree of stability and support to help clarify or build these points of clarification, while others may not necessarily be doing so. And you could even be getting better understanding about why this energy couldn't do so from some of the supportive energy that is currently around you at this time. Final card of clarification between these two cards right now is Four of Pentacles. Four of Pentacles. So, all right, this is that retrograde energy in action right now, because what this is really coming through with right now is a point of recognizing, a point of withholding that is potentially occurring around some circumstances and situations right now for masculine and feminine energy. There is this work, and for the masculine and feminine energy right now that is in partnership, this is going to feel a little bit different, very different than the energy that is not in partnership right now. Because with the masculine and the feminine energy that is in partnership right now, this is masculine and feminine both being able to have this honesty, to have this clarity come through right now, to allow this to be the thing that grounds and centers you, because it is showing you what is important. It is showing you how valuable what you have maintained and created between yourselves are. It is allowing that degree of holding tight to what is important and what matters, even through some of the setbacks or difficulties that you're currently experiencing. This is that mutual level of care and support that you are holding on to right now as you proceed forward from this point. While for the masculine and feminine energy that is not in partnership right now, this is more of that challenging space is what we're really identifying. Because what we're really identifying here to a certain degree is feminine energy is effectively asking masculine energy to give forth right now, to really show that there is this point of easement, there is this point of clarity that can be achieved in terms of where things are going and what things look like, and even identifying potentially third-party energy around circumstances and situations. Feminine energy is building their level or degree of confidence in what is being effectively given to them by the masculine right now. They are holding on to that and utilizing that as a point of import going forward, especially in the realms of the fact of the masculine energy opening up to a certain degree to help the feminine energy have a deeper understanding that there is something here that can be held on to, that can be rescued, that can be corrected, that is going to allow for the point of easement. For the other part of the collective right now, if the feminine doesn't see this, this is feminine energy continuing to hold back. This is feminine energy continuing to hold back to a certain degree, building their point of confirmation that the masculine energy lacks the ability to come forward in this way, to be vulnerable, to be honest in this way. Either way, for the feminine right now, it feels like a victory, even if it is an emotionally triggering one, to have this point of understanding. While for the masculine energy that is currently working through this, not in partnership right now, this is that moment that you yourself are being kind of forced to recognize what you feel you need to hold on to at this moment, because there could be a moment right now where you recognize that the only way to hold on to something and to salvage something right now is if you allow yourself to occupy a space of being open, in being vulnerable, in being coming into a point of vulnerability. And this is that decision point that we see that you are reaching as to whether you are going to hold on to the partnerships at this moment by disclosing, by being open, by being vulnerable at this time, or if you're going to continue to hold back, potentially at risk of losing the other relationship because what you are holding back is not something you feel confident in coming forward with. Bottom of the deck on this reading right now is Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune. There's something really important coming into play right now in trusting in fate, in allowing this point of optimism to come forward, that even through any of the setbacks or difficulties or challenges that you're currently experiencing, that you are always on the right path. As long as you keep working through these circumstances or situations, there is this point right now that is requiring a bit of a leap of faith, or a trust fall, if you will, coming into that higher alignment with yourself at this moment. And it may be feeling like a challenging space right now, because we are seeing here again, right on the heels of this Mercury retrograde starting, right deep, still in the heart of our Venus in retrograde starting, that there's some challenges, there's some hurdles that need to be overcome, even for the masculine and feminine energies that are in union right now. But having this trust in faith right now is also very valuable, important, recognizing that this too shall pass, and that you are continuing on the plan that you are needing to be on to help to get to your highest manifestation goals. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and experiencing it with me. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can book one on my website, graystrega.com. My private readings are done over video with the option of a recording sent to you afterwards. And if you are a subscriber to my TikTok, you can take 10% off any of my services when you pay. Just mention your subscriber ID at the point of payment. Please keep in mind, if you book a private reading with me on my site, it is a 2-step process. You have to book the reading and you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you hit both buttons if you would like to have that reading. Most importantly, I would like to remind you that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never DM you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your DMs and tell you that I have a very important message just for you. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my website. So I encourage you to do it there. I want to thank you guys so much for being here with me and sharing in this reading today. And we will do this again tomorrow.